Hey guys, Tim Marine here with another story time today, talking about one of our adventures on patrol. We were in Iraq, and our entire battery pretty much we basically had to sweep this huge fucking stretch of the Euphrates on the eastern side of it, our side of it, for IEDs and just other, weapons caches, stuff like that. It was a hot day. I don't remember when this was exactly, but it was a pretty warm day. I mean, it was probably at least in the 80s, and how long did we have to go? I want to say we had to walk a good couple miles. That we were literally online from the dirt road that followed the river all the way to the river, and just walked, and we're checking for shit, and it was tiring. I mean, it was relatively boring, all things considered. But the funny part about it is one of our guys, he was our supply guy. I won't say his name, but let's just say he was fat as fuck and overweight. Pulling punches, right? He just was, he just didn't fucking work out. And because of that, he was not the most in shape guy you could ever, possibly imagine. And so we're doing this walk, and he starts to have issues, starts to get a little overheated. So I give him some water and stuff, and tell him just to not really take it easy, because we had a certain pace we had to keep to get done on time, but, just to tell him to not push himself too crazy. And we get down to the very end of this thing, finally, after hours and hours of doing this, and all of a sudden, he's up by the road. We're all going up to the road to get into the trucks to head back to our cop. And his fucking fat ass passes out. Just fucking unconscious, boom, in the middle of the fucking road. So somebody calls for the corpsman. The corpsman runs up and sees that he's fucking out of it. And I run up I got to him before the corpsman did. And we rolled him over onto his back because he had fallen face first, and he was out. I like a lie. It was impressive. And, I mean, he had been sweating, but he was so dehydrated that he had stopped sweating, which is never good. And, his breathing was really ragged, and, he was just having some issues. And so the corpsman fucking takes his knife, or his scissors rather, and he cuts open his camis, cuts open his shirt, and they pour some water on his chest, get some on his head to try to start cooling him down. And they pull his pants down in the middle of this fucking road, and they take his temperature, shove it up his ass, silver bullet, which is the corpsman's, is what they got to do if you're unconscious, or if you're just having some major heat stuff. They shove the thermometer up your bum, and they got his temperature, which was high. But it wasn't dangerously so at that point. It was just, they had to keep an eye on him, certainly. And we had only brought in 7 tons with us, mind you. We had no Humvees. And so once they got him, they woke him back up, kind of, but he was out of it, like ridiculously out of it, to the point where he couldn't even stand up on his own. It's almost like he was insanely drunk, and the corpsman's sitting there, and he's got his fucking pants off. He's pretty much butt-ass naked in the middle of this Iraqi street. And, if there was any insurgents watching us, they had to have been getting a laugh out of this. But we were providing security, while these guys, the corpsman, went to work. Because we had 2 or 3 corpsmen with us, and they all came up and started working on him to make sure that he was okay. And and then the topic came up of how the fuck are we going to get him back to our cop, because it's too far to carry. We were good 4 or 5 miles at this point from where we lived at, and the only trucks we had, like I said, were 7 tons. Which, to get him in the back, there's a ladder that drops down, that folds down, and it's a good almost 6 feet up that you're going. And so they fucking. Oh no, we had an MRAP with us too. But we tried to get him in the 7 ton. And so there was a whole bunch of us trying to lift his fucking fat naked ass up into the back of the 7-ton. And he, I mean, when I say he was a large dude, he was about 5'8" or 5'9", and he was like 280. He was a large boy, and very little of its muscle. And we fucking were trying to push him up into this truck, and there was like 3 or 4 of us that were trying to do it, but he was completely dead weight. And we were all pretty strong, but when you're trying to lift dead weight like that up, that's just flopping and fucking falling all over the place. It is insanely difficult. And we were just trying over and over and over. We just could not get his ass up in there. We even had a guy up in the truck that was like grabbing his arms and trying to fucking pull him up, and it wasn't working. And so luckily they had the M-Wrap, and they pulled the M-Wrap up, which is a bit lower, and they ended up fucking dragging his fat ass in there. And although no one else could ride in it because he was just flopped over everything. It was ridiculous. And they finally got him back, and they got him treated, and he ended up being fine. But I was just thinking about that right now, of his fucking dumb ass. We harassed the shit out of him for that afterwards. We were trying to fucking lift his fat, stupid ass into the truck. And, man, that shit was hilarious. Hopefully you guys never have to run into that. I mean, you're going to see fat Marines. I guarantee it, but fuck. Hopefully you don't have to deal with that, because that sucked. That really did suck. It was hot. We were all tired too because we had walked just as far as he did, and now we're having to deal with this. It wasn't fun, but it was hilarious because this guy, and he was always talking shit too. He's one of those guys that even though he's out of shape, he's talking shit that he could beat up, this guy and that guy, and we're like, yeah, sure you can. And it's like, well, when that couple mile walk fucking almost killed you, I highly doubt that you can kick somebody's ass. Oh, man. Good times. Good times. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly did. I will see you in the next one. Separate bye.